Hey there folks, Graham here and welcome to the channel and welcome to the first in a series of videos on the Behringer FCB1010 MIDI foot controller and how I use it with my Yamaha MODX 8 Plus. In fact, it'll work with the 6, it'll work with the 7, in fact, it'll work with most any synth. In this first video, I'm going to show you what the FCB1010 can do and what I've got it set up to control on my MODX. In the next video, I'll then show you how to set all this up using a readily available software editor. And in the third video, I'll show you how to set it all up manually with no need for computers or software. You can program it directly using the switches and pedals on the board itself. So stick around for all that, but for now, let's dive straight in. So on the floor in front of me, I have the FCB1010 MIDI foot controller. As you can see, it's basically a pedal board with a number of foot switches and 2 expression pedals on the right hand side. There are 10 preset switches, 2 up and down switches, and the 2 expression pedals. Using the up and down buttons on the pedal board, you can control 10 banks of presets. So effectively, there's 10 banks of 10 presets. That's 100 presets, and each of those presets can perform multiple functions at the same time. So there's a great degree of flexibility here. But let's show you what I've got it set up to control on my MODX. For my setup, I'm using 4 of the banks of presets within the FCB1010 and using them to control the following things. I'm using them to control the scene functions within the MODX, so I can change patterns within a performance whilst I'm playing. I can control the super knob, the modulation wheel, the cutoff, the resonance, the attack, the release, the sustain and hold of notes, the assignable 1 and 2 buttons, the motion sequence trigger and hold buttons, and the arpeggiator on and off switch. So as you can see, that's a hell of a lot of stuff that you can control with your feet while playing with your hands. But what does all that sound like? Well, let me show you. So for this demo, I'm using a performance from the MODX, which has 8 scenes in it. And each of those scenes has different arpeggiators, different drum patterns, etc. And using the board here, I can move between those. I can bring different effects in and manipulate those sounds in real time whilst playing. So here's the basic sound. Now here's preset 1, which is scene 1. And now, if I use the expression pedal, I can manipulate the super knob and also the modulation wheel. You'll hear the pad come in the background. Then I can move to scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, scene 5, scene 6, scene 7, and scene 8. And turn the arpeggiator off. I can also, in this bank, as mentioned earlier, trigger the assignable 1 and 2 buttons to bring in various effects. So if I bring preset 1 back up again and just leave the drums going and then move to preset 9, you'll hear when I move expression pedal A, I'm bringing in the reverb. And if I move expression pedal B, I'm bringing in a sort of a delay on the drums. And then with preset 10, we just turn the arpeggiator off again. If I then press the up switch on the MIDI foot controller, this takes me to the second bank, or bank 01 as it's shown on the foot controller. In this bank, switches 1 to 8 control the scenes like they did in the first bank, but number 9 now controls the motion sequence, trigger and hold buttons via the expression pedals instead of the assignable 1 and 2 buttons. And number 10 still turns the arpeggiator on and off. But across all the presets, except for number 9, the expression pedal A is now controlling the sustain, which can also be used to hold notes. So here we are with preset number 1 again, but this time on bank 1. So expression pedal A is holding the sustain. So I'll start playing a note. If I release it, the note stops. Drums continue, but the note stops. Now if I rock the pedal forward and let go, I can let go of the key and it continues to play. So this is holding the note. If I rock the pedal back, the sustain stops. And with number 10, I can turn the arpeggiator off again. So this function works really well, especially if you're using, for example, piano. You can use this just as a standard expression pedal, rocking it backwards and forwards as if you would pushing a sustain pedal up and down. But if you're playing synth sounds, you can use it as a hold function. So you can play a note, you can push the pedal forward and leave it pressed forwards because it's not sprung like a sustain pedal. It'll stay in that position and it will hold the note. And then when you want to release that note, you can then push the pedal back down again and it will end the sustain. Then if I press the up switch again and take myself to the third bank, which is bank 02 on the front of the foot controller, again, I have switches 1 to 8 set up for the scenes and number 10 to turn the arpeggiator on and off. But now in this bank, the expression pedals control the cutoff and resonance. So here we've got our main arp going again with the drum pattern. If I move the expression pedal A backwards, then I reduce the cutoff. If I move it forward, I'm increasing the cutoff. Now if I move that cutoff back to about the middle, and then with expression pedal B, I can muck about with the resonance. And get those sort of effects you can get where you play between the cutoff and the resonance. And then if I press the up switch once again, this takes me to the fourth bank, or bank 03 as shown on the front of the FCB1010. And in this bank, again, switches 1 to 8 are controlling the scenes. Switch 10 is controlling the ARP on-off switch, but now the expression pedals are controlling the attack and the release. So for this one, I'm going to use a different sound, a pad, for showing how the attack and release works. So this is the normal pad. Now if I lower the attack, bring it back to normal. If I increase the attack, sound comes in more slowly, all using expression pedal A. Now if I leave the attack where it is, go to expression pedal B for release, again, this is the normal pad. When I release, there's a fairly short release. If I increase that release, I can release the keys and there's a much slower release of the sound. Or indeed, if I bring the release right down to 0, it immediately cuts off when I release the keys. And again, I can do this with 2 hands and controlling the release with my foot. So that's what I've got the FCB1010 set up to control on my MODX. As I say, just running back through it again. In the first bank, we've got 8 presets controlling the scenes. We've got preset number 9 controlling the assignable 1 and 2 switch. We've got preset number 10 controlling the arpeggiator. and we've got the expression pedals controlling the super knob and the modulation wheel. On the second bank, we've got 1 to 8 controlling the scenes again, but this time if we press preset 9, the pedals control the motion sequencer trigger and hold buttons instead of the assignable 1 and 2 buttons. And preset 10 again controls the arpeggiator, and the pedals on all the presets except number 9 are controlling the sustain and hold. And then in the third bank, again, presets 1 to 8 control the scenes. Number 10 is the arpeggiator. We're not using number 9 this time, but the pedals now control the cutoff and resonance. And in the fourth bank, again, 1 to 8 control the scenes. We're not using number 9. Number 10 controls the arpeggiator, but this time the pedals control the attack and release. So I hope you can see that's an awful lot of stuff that you can do with this MIDI foot controller to control your MODX, and it gives you a lot more flexibility of what you can do with your hands whilst you're playing, because you don't need one free to control the super knob or the mod wheel. You don't need one free to move between the scenes. You don't need to take your hand off the keys to turn the arpeggiator on and off. You can do it all with your feet, live on the fly while you're playing. So there you have it. I hope you found this video useful. If you've got any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will do my best to get back to each and every one of them. Or indeed, if you just want to leave a comment, any or all feedback is greatly appreciated. And if you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, as it really does help me to grow the channel so I can produce future content like this for you. Oh, and one last thing, don't forget to tune in for the next 2 videos. The next one will show you how to program all of this in the FCB1010 using an available software editor that's free. And the video after that will show you how to program the FCB1010 manually. No need for a computer, no need for any software editors. You can program it directly using the switches and foot pedals on the board itself. But for now, I've been Graham. Take care and catch you later.